Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, or if you're new, welcome. Want to get back into more ML Re content. Well, except not exactly. We got a Beck react today. We're going to be watching the Beck reacts to Mr. Snowflake and answers question video. It's going to be probably split into two parts because it is 41 minutes. So with my added commentary, good chance it's going to be over an hour, maybe even an hour and a half. So what we're going to be doing is splitting into two, maybe three, depending on how big it is. So let's not keep you guys waiting and get into the video, shall we?
Hey guys, I just want to thank everyone who watched my live stream and caught it afterwards. I do want to apologize for the audio issues and the technical difficulties and the video issues, but I do promise to have it fixed and figured out before the next live stream. This video is me answering questions from the video that Mr. Snowflake, or also known as Under the Hood, made for me to react to. I also want to thank Mr. Snowflake for getting these questions together for me and for making this video. Let's get into it.
Alright, so since Beck has already explained it, what we're going to be doing is jumping straight into the questions, listen to Mr. Snowflake, listen to Beck, and then give my own opinions on it. Let's get into it, shall we?
Has Amber tried to contact you after the breakup when everything was over? So she has no problem leaving crazy messages for people. And she was messaging Jade wifey when she was told not to, so yeah. Has Amber ever tried to contact you after the breakup? I'll read the question, have a little pause, that's when I imagine you'll...
Yeah, she got a hold of me at one point to ask about a personal thing in my life happening. It was an anniversary of the death of my nephew, and I think she asked how I was doing, and I didn't answer to that. And then a little while after that, she asked if Kate Winslet had come out with anything new, and I didn't answer that either. And I want to say that was around maybe the summer of 2022.
The thing is, if it was a random stranger or pretty much anyone else, I would give them the benefit of the doubt, but knowing Amber as well as we do, that was 100% manipulation. Trying to get back into someone's life using their nephew who is no longer alive is 100% messed up.
I'm assuming they know about Amber and Reed and now dating a suspected feeder. Oh, I put this up 5 days ago. Oh, they've broken up now. That was ages ago. I'm wondering what was their reaction to this when they found out? Shocked, unsurprised, worried or concerned? Curious to know any of their thoughts around this situation, please. I always thought she was much happier being with a feeder. Anyway, what do you think about that?
Am I shocked that Amber would want to date a feeder? No, I'm not. And her being with someone who is okay with the weight she's at, or really okay with her gaining more weight, would be the easiest type of relationship for her to be in.
Oh yeah, no, 100%, because there is no negative outcome for that, because if she fails to diet, oh well, her partner enjoys the fact that she's morbidly obese. Where if she promises people, hey, I'm going to lose weight, I want to go on this journey with you, I want to travel the world, I want to do all of these things, and she doesn't do it, then there's going to be negative outcomes, so it's better to be with the feeder than it is with anyone else.
I don't really have anything to say about Emily. I don't know her.
Well, Beck, you are a better person than me because I have said and will continue to say that that person is a shit person.
But I will say that I don't see how you can care for a person while participating in feederism with no concern for their health.
Honestly said the exact same thing. Like, if you place your sexual attraction and your fetishes above your partner and their safety, then you don't care about them as a person. That's not love. That's just you viewing them as an object of pleasure.
Hi Beck, I hope you're doing well. It's so good to see you look so well and happy. You look incredible after that £600 LB lost. Well done, well done. What was your reaction to Amber lying about wifey Jade being two different people? Mental. How did you feel after she chewed you out, making some stupid joke like you always do? I think back on that live stream where she read that text to you out loud and then went whoopsies so often. It's so disgusting and vitriolic. Take care of yourself, Bex.
I didn't know how anybody would not see through that because it was so obvious that it was the same person.
They're trying to place the blame on Beck as if it's Beck's fault for you lying is just redundant because, like, you're the one lying in the first place. That's really the thing. A lot of people figured it out even before Beck had said anything, and it was more just confirmation. And even during the relationship itself, there was more and more coming out. It's like, eventually it was going to happen. And, like, I don't want to be that person, but at the same time, you can't be lying to people and expect people not to find out the lie eventually because it will come out.
As for the aftermath, she was absolutely mad at me. She was seeing red. She completely blamed me for her being doxxed, said the whole thing was my fault, even though she had done the whole pointing her name out in the live stream and then naming the live stream after her thing.
My honest opinion was less outrage and more placing the blame on Beck. Like, I did this, but you also did something, so therefore I'm shifting 100% of the accountability onto you, so that way I can't get blamed for what I did wrong.
Would Amber ignore you in real life and then make a video with you acting like she was such a good girlfriend? That's always how I assumed she was acting. I always got the feeling, sometimes got the feeling, when I'd watch a video of you two together, like something seems off. Maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, was she ever really angry? Ever moody, and then the camera went on and then went, "Hi, girlfriend tag, everything's great."
Oh, 100%. I don't even need Beck to confirm this. I can say 100% Amber is like this, and I know because I've had to deal with exes just like that.
Yeah, that's exactly how it was. Like, there would be times that we would be arguing, having a disagreement or something, and then she'll be like, "Oh, well, I'm getting ready to film," so as soon as she would turn on the camera, it would be a completely different person.
And the worst part about the conversation is that it's always 1 to 100 in a split second, and you don't know when it's going to happen because anything could trigger them. And sometimes you don't even have to be the trigger, you just have to take the brunt of the force because they have to get the energy out some way, and screaming at you is the best way to do it because you've taken it so many times before. What's one more? And then there's also the aspect of you like trying to figure out what exactly the problem is because half the times you don't even get explained what you did wrong. And sometimes like, again, you don't even do anything wrong and you're just the recipient of the anger. And so you're like, all right, what do I do in the future to not get screamed at like that, not to be belittled or not to be attacked in that type of manner? So then you're kind of hyper focused on not trying to be the problem that you cause another fight, or they just see you acting weird and they're going to assign some, weird assumption to you. So then that's another fight or another argument that's going to happen. And if you're someone like myself who will only take so much before you fight back, you then become the aggressor in the situation because then they will make themselves the victim. And it's like, how dare you scream at me like that, even though they're doing the exact same thing? They did it first and they're so out of line for doing so in the first place.
Did she weigh more than 572.4 pounds? She's always said that was the highest weight. That was the highest weight she ever saw. Did she ever weigh more than that?
I honestly do not know what her highest weight is, and I don't even think that she knows, really. But I do remember her weighing like 570, maybe like 580 something at some point. She definitely got more private and secretive about it after that, so I'm not really sure how much she ended up weighing.
I am willing to bet at one point or another she was 600 pounds and she knows it. She saw it on the scale, but she's not willing to admit it. And the thing is, like, it's like that weird number increase of 5 to 6. Like, she could be 599.9 pounds, but as long as she's not 600, it's perfectly fine. She'll admit probably 599.9, but she's not willing to admit 600. That's never going to happen.
Do you think Amber sometimes believes her own lies? Or, if she was more able-bodied, do you think she would have been physically... I think you answered that in a Karina video, I think. But do you think she believes her own lies?
I do think that she convinces herself that her lies are true because she wants them to be true. It's really hard to explain why I think that, but I feel like I've seen it happen.
It is a really hard thing to figure out because a lot of people who are compulsive liars often believe the lies that they tell. So to them, it is the truth, but to us, it's a lie. So to assign intent is a very hard thing because some may be truth to Amber and some may just be lies in order to justify her bad actions. But ultimately, at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter because Amber is often proven wrong with evidence and she still continues and justifies her bad actions and her lies. So it's like if you're willing to still believe your own delusions or your own lies and you're still willing to fight against the evidence, it's not the fact that you're unaware of the truth, it's that you're ignorant to the truth because you don't want to take accountability for your actions.
And this person says, sorry, I have one more. I don't think I read out the other one, sorry. What would Amber say about her lies when the camera was off? Would she try and justify it to you? Would she say nothing to you at all and pretend her lies were real?
I don't know of actual instances, but I know that there were times where she would be like, make sure you don't mention this or that, just to make sure that things were kept straight.
Yeah, no, she knows it's a lie, because if you're willing to omit parts of the truth in order to keep the lie going, you're not ignorant of the lie, you know that it's a lie. So she knows full well that she is lying. That right there just proves it. Also, Amber, for future reference, if you have to hide it not to get into trouble, then you know for a fact that you're doing something wrong. Don't do it in the future so that you don't have to hide it.
Did Big Al ever threaten to off herself if Beck wanted to break up with her? Did she do that with Destiny?
She didn't threaten to do that with me, but she did guilt me in other ways, like saying who would help her and who would take care of her, who would be there with her, if she would be lonely, that kind of stuff.
What she allegedly did to Destiny is worse than what she did to Beck, because ultimately unalive baiting is just such a depraved thing to do. But at the same time, manipulation is never good, regardless of how bad the thing is. Like, even though there is levels, either one is not acceptable.
How did Amber treat the service workers she encountered when the camera was off? Wait staff, cashiers, receptionists. Was she outright rude? Did she fake kindness then? Then trash talk? What were the reactions of other customers? I've been watching videos from when you were with her, and she said people would laugh at her, people would mock her. She could see the stares. She'd be really paranoid about that. Now she makes out that every time she leaves the house, some guy's asking her out.
It definitely did seem like there were times she would fake kindness, but she wouldn't outwardly be rude to wait staff or anything that I could tell. But there were times where we did get stared at, and if they were talking about us, I tried my best to tune everything out so I didn't hear it.
Honestly, I think for Amber, her mindset is that if you are serving her, then you are beneath her. So her faking kindness is like a nicety to her. But for most people, they don't have to act kind. Like, if you're getting a service, you're not going to act kind. You're just going to be kind. You're going to be respectful, and you're going to be nice to the people who are serving you. Also, Beck, mate, like, do not try to take that personally, because at the end of the day, I know people who are servers and who are waiters and stuff like that, and they are some of the messiest people, like, straight up. They will shit talk anyone and everyone, regardless of who you are.
Why does Emmeline Reed insist on being chauffeured? Why won't she learn to drive or take an Uber? I'm going to put it down to laziness like everything, but I'll wait and see what you say.
She's terrified to drive, and I also think she knows that she couldn't fit behind a steering wheel or probably wear a seatbelt, and that's also probably why she can't take an Uber, is because she would be required to wear a seatbelt.
Now, that one in particular, I'm not going to fault her for, because as someone with an anxiety disorder, I still get anxiety. Like, I've been driving for... I'm 29, so I got my license when I was 21? Oh, no, it might have been 20 when I got it. So I've been driving for a good 8 to 9 years. I can't exactly remember when I got it. It's either 20 or 21, like probably just before I turned 21. So it is a good 8 years that I've been driving for. So, like, I'm still a very anxious person, and I would rather not have Amber behind the wheel of a car.
Did Amberlynn claim BPD when you were together, or did she still have ASMR? Does it bring you joy to see her rotten life spiral? I think it brings a lot of people joy to see her spiraling at the minute. I think she's crazier than she's ever been. Well, it's more obvious now. We can spot it. It's more obvious now.
No, she didn't claim to have BPD when we were together, but a friend of ours did mention it to me, saying that they thought that she had BPD or something similar.
All right, so this is a very sensitive topic, so I want to kind of phrase it in the best way without making me sound incredibly ableist, but a lot of traits that people have for disability and disorders kind of overlap with one another. So people can mistake things without understanding why it is or the intent behind it. And so it's like, you can maybe mistake a disorder for a disability because certain traits overlap with one another, and those traits kind of give you the perception that someone may have a disorder instead of a disability. Like, take narcissism and autism, for example. Like, a lot of issues when it comes to social interactions and social cues will overlap with one another, but ultimately it comes down to why those issues are kind of like apparent. Like, someone who has narcissism is often because their mental health is kind of affected by their self-esteem and interpersonal relationships. Their brain is not fully developed, and so they kind of have a lack of empathy and emotional understanding. And even though they know what they're doing is wrong, they don't really care, because ultimately it's only really how they feel about the situation. Where someone who has autism, they don't understand. They don't really understand the issues that they have. Someone like myself, who does have autism, I will say something and I don't understand why it's a problem. So I will have to kind of manually try to imprint it in my brain that I'm doing something wrong and I can't do that in the future.
Did Evelyn Reid ever confess to you about her major wrongdoings/lies, e.g. the Casey essay, Gracie, grooming Libby, etc.? I don't know how much you're aware of now. A lot of people are calling her Diddy Lynn.
I did call her that months ago when we first heard about the Abby situation. I believe Alexis, when she first had the falling out with Amber, she mentioned she was like 20 or 21, but then we found out that she was potentially 19, so even younger than what Amber admitted. And I first called her Diddy back then, but I think that situation has probably been around since, I don't know, maybe the Diddy accusation, so for all we know, it could have been even earlier than that.
Because of how she was around Libby and kids and other things. Did she ever confess anything like that? The essay stuff still baffles me.
No, she never confessed to major wrongdoing. She basically kept the same story that she had online with me. I only found out recently that Casey was a minor, and I didn't know anything really about Libby. I'd never met her or anything, but all I did know about it was that she was Destiny's friend, and she was a teenager, and they had an adult friend who had a crush on her, and I told Amber that I thought that was weird, and Amber was like, yeah, but he was a good guy, which I don't understand how he could be a good guy and be flirting with a minor.
Two things. One, you can't be a good person and also be attracted to minors. That doesn't work like that. Oxymoron. And two, if you're willing to justify someone being a good man even though they're attracted to minors, that is very sus, and that begs the question of why would you want to associate with someone like that, and why would you try to defend someone like that? Which is one of the main reasons why I personally don't like Alexis, because how are you going to know that your friend who is 33 trying to date a 20-year-old, potentially 19-year-old, very creepy in my opinion, and just because it is legal doesn't make it moral. Also, I just want to throw this out there. People who are willing to date people who are just barely legal because of the age of consent, say 16 to 18, they date a 16-year-old because that's the age of consent. They're willing to date someone younger if the age of consent was lower. So it's not that they are willing to wait until you're that age, it's the fact that they just don't want to go to prison.
The only other red flag I've really seen from Amber was she did have a crush on Billie Eilish when Billie was just starting out. So I think she was a teenager around then, which I told her was weird, and so did Eric and Ricky. But she said that she was almost an adult and that she acted older and looked older, so it was okay.
Oh, I'm willing to bet Amber has said at one point or another she acts very mature for her age. Like, that is like 101 red flags right there. And it's just, like, I'm not even a Billie fan, but I knew that Billie dressed the way she did because she didn't like the fact that she was sexualized as a teenager. Like, the fact that Amber was still willing to have a crush on her and is still willing to kind of have that type of, mentality about a teenager that doesn't want to be sexualized is gross. Really gross. An extra level of gross.
I just really wished I would have dug deeper into these things and taken it more seriously, because they really are awful and it's unacceptable behavior. But I will always stand with victims.
Alright, so I really like Beck, and I understand why they did what they did. They were in a very abusive relationship, they were also in love, so I can understand them not looking into the situation as deep as they did. But I'm also a bit disheartened at the fact that Beck did know that Amber was attracted to a 17-year-old at the age of 26, 27. Like, it's just, again, I understand, but at the same time, if my partner came to me and said, hey, I'm attracted to this 17-year-old, I would immediately end the relationship. I just would. I do understand and I do agree why they did what they did, but it's messed up. It's a messed up situation. It really is.
She had sympathy for PDFs and she would argue with people about it. Sorry, I'm going on a lot of rant. And she said the reason she defended PDFs was because she was gay and she didn't want to judge people like she'd been judged. Then she forgot that and said the reason she had sympathy and stuck up for PDFs was because of what her cousin did to her. And she forgot that. And she said the reason she stuck up for PDFs and argued with people online about it was because of what her father's friends did to her. Yeah, it was because she was gay, cousin, father's friends. Anything on that, because I think that's the worst stuff.
I just found out that she said that, and that's a disgusting comparison because gay people can consent, whereas children cannot.
Alright, so the age of consent should be the be-all and end-all of the conversation, but there are still always going to be people who are going to try arguing the age of consent. And I'm going to put something out there and say that the age of consent is not good enough, because someone who's a legal adult, but their brain is not fully developed, can have adverse effects from sexual experiences. This has been scientifically proven by multiple different studies. So if someone at the age of 25, 26, 27, 28 is not able to fully consent, how the hell is someone under the age of 18 going to be able to consent? It doesn't make any sense. And like, if you're a 28-year-old and you can still have adverse effects from a sexual experience that you consented to, what type of damage is going to happen to a child?
How did you feel when she said she did not have BED after using the binge monster as an excuse for so many years when she seemingly didn't get her way?
I thought it was hilarious because the entire time we were together, she always said that she had binge eating disorder. I don't know exactly why she said that she doesn't have binge eating disorder, but I will say that what I witnessed was that she would eat copious amounts of food, and whenever I wouldn't give it to her or she wouldn't get it, she would just be really upset and angry about it, and the binge monster would come out, and well, that's what she called it. It was actually just her kind of being a toddler about it.
I don't think Amber was ever diagnosed with it, but at the same time, it would make sense that she does have it because, let's just face it, 600 pounds, you would have to have some sort of disorder when it comes to eating.
Does Ella have a burner Instagram account? She was Damon White, pretending to be Damon White to see what people said about her, and people have always thought she's got sock accounts and burner Instagram accounts.
She does have a second Instagram account, and she also does have YouTube accounts that are burner accounts, and she will attack people with it. And the thing is, if you can manage to trigger her, she will drop the act and will just pretend to be herself. Like, she'll straight up say that it is her.
Was she just obsessed with like reaction channels back then and what the comments said and what this website said and what this website and what this person was thinking? Was she just utterly obsessed with it and going undercover to see? Oh, man.
I'm sure she did, but Damon White is the only one that I know for sure of. And yeah, she was all over the reaction channels and the Facebook and Reddit and Kiwi Farm. She'd check that stuff out all the time.
Oh, you know, 100%. Like, Amber is the type of person who would F herself if she could, but she's so incredibly insecure about how people perceive her. Like, that is just how Amber is as a person. Also, foodie too.
How much food did Amber actually eat throughout the day? I don't know why I put that one in there. I'm guessing a lot to maintain 500-600 pounds.
It was a lot of ramen. She ate a lot of ramen. She ate a lot of fast food. She ate a lot of junk food. Of course, you know, she would have her normal breakfast, lunch, dinner, but she would always have snacks and stuff in between. So there would be times where she wouldn't, like, she would fast for a little while, but then she would, like, you know how you just go like 16 hours without eating, but then she would binge for the rest of the 8. She would just eat.
Alright, so my highest weight was 142.4 kilos, or 315 pounds. And I would typically, on a good day, would eat about 5 to 6, and on a bad day, about 7 to 9. So a couple of years ago, when the 10,000 calorie challenge was a cute little challenge, because apparently, you know, disordered eating is cute, apparently, I was doing that 2 or 3 times a week. Not even joking, straight up. That's how much I would eat. Now you can imagine how much Amber would eat.
Why does Amber claim to love Rosa Parks so much? Has she done any research about her or know anything else? Know anything else she did in the civil rights movement besides the one bus incident? I don't think she has a very good knowledge of history. So yeah, why does Amber claim to love Rosa Parks so much?
I really don't think that she does know anything besides Rosa and the bus situation. I just think that she thinks it makes her look good to be interested in that.
Because to some people, the idea of being progressive is a label and not an idea. That being equal is not something that they actually care about. They just say it because they want to be perceived as a moral person. Alright guys, it's going to be the end of the video. Otherwise, I'm not going to have enough time to fully finish this one and the foodie video. So we're going to call it here. We're going to have to do a part 2, unfortunately. I do apologize, but I will come back, probably not tomorrow. the next day after Amber does release her next video. So that way we'll probably won't do a retro react. We'll just do the 2 parts, one after another. But thank you for watching. I hope you guys enjoy and hopefully get to see you lovely people in the next one. Bye bye.